Dear students, welcome to today's class. Let us start today's class with the next concept, that is preventive measures for communicable diseases. So communicable diseases, as we studied, they easily spreads from infected person to healthy person. It may be caused by bacteria, fungi or viruses, but the preventive measure depends on mode of spreading. So I have listed few of the preventive measures can be followed. So one of the common preventive measure is maintenance of personal hygiene. So this is the basic thing should be followed by everyone for preventing the communicable disorder. This includes body clean, that means a regular bath, and hands should be washed before having food. And one more is consumption of clean drinking water, that means water should be boiled before drinking. Then fruits and vegetables what we are using, that should be washed properly for avoiding the pathogen, getting of pathogen. Then these are the few personal hygiene should be followed regularly. Together with the personal hygiene, public hygiene is equally important as well, because the number of disorders like typhoid, ascariasis and amoebiasis, they easily spreads by contaminated food material if we are eating food outside, and improper disposal of human excreta or waste material. So that we should concentrate on those things also. So that I am telling public hygiene is equally important as well. So in under the public hygiene, so we should take care of the proper disposal of waste and human excreta. So human excreta, if the proper disposal is not done, that will carry the disease through mechanical carrier. And one more, periodic cleaning and disinfection of water resources like pools and tanks, periodically cleaned by using disinfectant like chlorine. So chlorine is used for cleaning some of the water resources. Then one more thing is in public catering, very importantly care should be taken. That means when we are eating the food outside, proper hygiene should be followed, or else it will lead to some of the disorders like a typhoid and amoebiasis. So that these are the few measures should be concentrated in case of public hygiene. Then one more this thing is, some of the disorders are airborne. Say for example, pneumonia and common cold, they are airborne diseases. That means the pathogen easily carried through air. So in such a cases, close contact with the infected person should be avoided. Like how we are preventing the corona disease, in the same way we should take the preventive measures for pneumonia and common cold. And the belongings of infected person should not be used by the healthy one. So by these few measures, the spreading of airborne disease can be avoided, or by using a mask or by using gloves. These are the few preventive measures can be followed in airborne diseases. Some of the diseases like malaria and filariasis, they spreads through mosquito vector. So important measures should be followed is, we should control and eliminate vector and also their breeding places. How this can be achieved? So this can be achieved by following measures. That means we should avoid the stagnation of water in and around the residential areas. Then regular cleaning of household cooler. Cooler is also one of the breeding place for mosquito, so that it should be cleaned periodically for avoiding breeding of mosquito. Then use of mosquito net. For doors and for window panels, mosquito nets can be used for avoiding the entry of mosquito in. Then one of the important measure is introducing fishes like gambusia. So gambusia is a special variety of fish. It can be introduced into the natural water bodies like ponds and pools for avoiding the breeding of mosquito, because it will feed on the mosquito larvae, so that it will stop the multiplication of mosquito in natural water bodies. Then one more area is ditches and drainage areas. So these areas are also act as a breeding places for mosquito. So by periodic spraying of insecticides, we can somehow prevent the multiplication of mosquito vector. So these are the few important measures should be followed, because nowadays the peoples are getting dengue and chikungunya. So for these two disorders spreading also, vector is mosquito. So these are the measures should be followed by everyone, so that mosquito vector can be eradicated. Then one more this thing is, preventive measure is, most of the diseases, viral diseases are successfully treated by using vaccine. So vaccine is there for most of the viral disorder. Eradication of deadly disorder like smallpox is done by using the vaccine. So now we have vaccine for pneumonia disease, tetanus, as well as diphtheria. So by using the vaccine, some of the disorders can be prevented in human. Then one more this thing is use of antibiotics. Antibiotics are the medicines. They are against the life of bacteria, so that by using antibiotics, some of the pathogen can be destroyed. Not only antibiotics, varieties of drugs are also available to stop the multiplication of pathogen in the host, so that by following all these preventive measures, we can get rid from some of the communicable disorder. But the thing is, we should make use of all these preventive measures. Dear students, let us move to important part of this chapter, that is immunity. First, to understand what is meant by immunity. Every day we are get exposed to different kinds of pathogen. While walking, swimming, or while doing some work, unknowingly our body get exposed to different pathogens, because they are present everywhere. They are present in air, water, and in soil. But all these exposures does not lead to disease. What I mean to say is, we are not regularly fallen into sick by this exposure. Why? So because we are strong enough, we have the ability to destroy the pathogen. So this ability of our body is nothing but immunity. So this is important one. So immunity is the ability of body to fight against disease causing pathogen. Who is giving this ability? Who is actually making us to strong fight against the disease causing agent? So this ability, overall ability, is given by a system called as immune system. So if our immune system is strong, there is a less chance of getting infection. If we are more strong, the chance of getting infection is less. Next, types of immunity. So there are two types of immunity. One is innate immunity. Second one is acquired immunity. What is mean by innate immunity? So innate immunity is called as inborn immunity. That means this kind of immunity is present since from birth. And second one is acquired immunity. So this is not present in the individual from the birth. It is acquired after birth. So that there are two types of immunity is present. One is innate and another one is acquired immunity. So we are discussing the acquired immunity later. Now let us study about innate immunity in detail. Yes, let us study innate immunity. As I told, it is called as inborn immunity since it is developed from birth. It is also a non-specific type of defense. That means it is giving protection your body against all sorts of microorganisms. That means you can't say that it is protecting you from only bacteria, only viruses, because it is giving complete protection against all sorts of microorganisms. For giving this kind of protection, innate immunity consists of barriers. Yes, there are four different types of barriers are present in this immunity. First one is physical barrier. Physical barrier is just like a wall of your house. So you are protected from wind, rain, and external temperature by the wall. So, like that, in our body, there are some of the organs, they are protecting us from the entry of external pathogen. So, one of the physical barrier is skin. Skin is the outermost covering of our body. It is not only protecting the inner organ, one more function of the skin is it will prevent the entry of pathogen. So suppose if the air consists of a pathogen, if it come in contact on your skin, it does not allow it to enter in. And one more physical barrier is mucus coating of respiratory tract. So respiratory tract consists of mucus coating. The innermost lining consists of mucus coating. So this mucus coating trap the pathogen when you are inspiring. That means when you are taking air inside, that air consists of some of the dust particles or pathogen. They are initially get trapped by the mucus coating. So this is one more physical barrier. And the third one is gastrointestinal tract. Sometimes the food what we are taking, that will also cause us some of the disorders. We have seen many distinct disorders caused by the contaminated food material. So the gastrointestinal tract will trap some of the pathogen in the food particles, so that it will somehow prevent the infection of intestinal region. And one more this thing is urogenital tract. So urogenital tract also traps the pathogen in that particular region. So all these are act as a physical barriers to prevent the entry of pathogen. Second type of barrier is physiological barriers. There are some internal organs in the body secretes some substances or chemical. They helps in destruction of pathogens, so that they are called as a physiological barriers. The best example is acid in the stomach. Stomach secretes HCl. It maintains acidic pH, as well as it is helpful to destroy some of the pathogen, because most of the pathogen in the stomach, they can't survive in less acidic pH, so that they are get destroyed in the stomach region itself. Then one more example is saliva in the mouth. Mouth secretes saliva. It will helpful in the digestion of food material, as well as it will destroy some of the pathogens like bacteria are get damaged in the region of mouth itself. So for destroying bacteria, saliva consists of lysozyme enzyme. So by the help of this enzyme, it will destroy some kinds of bacteria in the mouth region. Then tears from eyes. So any sorts of irritation to eyes easily releases tears. Tear consists of the same enzyme as we have seen in the saliva, that is lysozyme enzyme. So this enzyme destroys some kinds of bacteria, so that it will prevent tears from bacterial infection. So these are the some kinds of physiological barriers. And third type of barrier is cellular barriers. Certain cells in our body, they are acting as a barrier. That means they are checking the growth of pathogen, so that they are called as cellular barriers. In the blood, WBC cells are present, that means leukocytic cells. So in the leukocytes, there are a number of types are there. They are very helpful to destroy number of pathogen. So one of the WBC cell acting as a cellular barrier is neutrophils. So neutrophils called as polymorphonuclear leukocytes. So abbreviation form is PMNL. So they are very helpful to destroy some kinds of bacteria, so that bacterial infection is prevented by some of the neutrophils in the body. Then monocytes. So monocytes are also very essential to break down some kinds of bacteria. So function of neutrophils and monocytes are one or the similar. Then the third type of WBC cell is natural killer in the blood. They are also called as lymphocytic cells. So lymphocytic cells, they will destroy pathogen by producing antibodies. The formation of antibodies in the blood takes place by lymphocytic cell, so that they are called as natural killers. Then one more is macrophages. So macrophages are one of the largest WBC cell in the body. So they will destroy most of the pathogen by one of its specialized mechanism called as phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is nothing but cell eating. It will engulf the pathogen and destroy it. So that these are the four different kinds of WBC cells. By the different mechanism, they are acting as a cellular barriers. Then fourth one is cytokine barriers. So cytokine barriers nothing but some of the cells in our body secretes some chemicals or substances, so they will destroy the growth of pathogen. So that kind of barriers are comes under, those kind of barriers are comes under cytokine barriers. So best example is viral infected cells secretes one of the protein called as interferons. So in this example, interferon is cytokine barrier. What is the function of interferon? It will protect nearby healthy cell from the further infection. That means it does not allow healthy cells to further to undergo further infection, so that it is giving protection to the healthy nearby cell from viral infection. So that there are four types of barriers that comes under innate immunity. One is physical barrier, second one is physiological barriers, third one is cellular barriers, fourth one is cytokine barriers. So all these barriers, they are present since from birth. They are protecting body against the pathogen by their different ways.